Well, we got a week off from jumping on here to talk to y'all, but back by popular demand, thank you very much for responding to the thread and telling us you wanted us back to talk a little IHL hockey. So we are here to do that. And with me tonight is Moranaconda. No T-Sibs tonight. So it's just going to be the two of us, and we'll have a couple people joining us. How you doing, man? How's it going in the IHL?
It's going all right. It's been interesting. It's been very interesting to say the least. Playing, against some of you got everybody mixed up into one. You got NHL guys, you have AHL guys, you have CHL guys. It's been interesting. Some of the games have been pretty tight. And there's been some huge blowouts for some teams that just didn't quite match up at that point in time. But it's been fun. It's been interesting, and it's something to do to kill the time before 17 comes out. And I'm sure everybody's having a blast.
There really seems to be all we're doing, isn't it? Just trying to get through this last couple weeks before the new one comes out. I mean, when we get down to just a couple weeks left on the game and the new one's coming out, we've already had a taste. We're ready to go for it. And, following hopefully shortly right behind that, season 3.
Without question, yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be cool. I can't wait for 17 to come out personally, and I know there's everybody that I've been playing games with lately has been talking the same. That they're just ready to move on and move up and get the ball rolling on the new season and the new game. So we're right here at the tail end. We only got a couple, 3 weeks left here. So we're right at the cusp of a new era in LG and a new era in NHL 17. So it's going to be here quicker than not. So.
Yep. Well, that being said, we'll reverse it back because we are after 2 weeks going into week 3 of the IHL. So we've got 2 weeks to kind of talk about here. Still on NHL 16, of course, but everybody seems to be having a good time. And there's a good mix of players from all different leagues, all the 3 different PSN leagues from last season in this now. And it's really been interesting to watch so far. You have Russia sitting up at the top, Kazakhstan right behind them. It's really interesting to see the teams that are sitting up near the top of the standings here and how this is playing out, especially to give Barris a little bit of credit for the piece he wrote with predictions before this started. Kind of giving everybody an outline of his opinion of what he saw on the teams. And since then, some of the things have played out and other things have not.
Yeah, there's a couple of surprise teams, but the cream is definitely rising to the top. France got off to a quick start. They were sitting up there at the top for a little while. It took quite a few games before I think they even took a loss. So they came out of the gates firing, and they were playing a lot of good games. It was fun to watch, and now Russia, like you said, and Rahanic and the boys have kind of just taken their spot. They're all top players in this league, and they've just kind of worked their way right up to the top. But with Kazakhstan right behind them, I always mess that up.
Kazakhstan.
But they're right on their heels. They're only 2 points back from Russia, and it's turning into be a pretty damn tight race here at the top. Simply because if it holds true to form, and there is a little bit of rumblings of talks that they may possibly reconsider the format, but on the Xbox side, it's just the top 4 teams. So you got 10 teams that are going to be left out in the cold here, and it's just the top 4 that make it to the playoffs, and you kind of just roll with it from there and see who takes the medals. So it's going to be interesting to watch. If it stays that way, it's going to be one hell of a battle to get into those top 4 spots, because you have all the way down to Canada, which sits in the 9th seed currently. You have 4 teams that are tied with 20 points in Sweden, Denmark, Italy, and Canada. And then you have Finland, who's only 2 points up on that with 22. But then you got the 4th seed, the U.S., and the 3rd seed, France, sitting at 20 23 and 24 points respectively, and it's a really tight race for those last couple of spots. Russia's kind of pulling out ahead there. 5 points clear of the fourth seed, so it's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on this and see if we do in fact mirror the Xbox side and do it that way. Those four spots at the top are going to be like gold.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if the race gets tight here, coming down the end of the week, we've got some signs that may tell us what some teams may do. Just looking at one goal game records, France in third is 4-0 and 2 in one goal games, meaning they've played 6 one goal games and they've gotten at least a point in each of them. And then Denmark in seventh. JLM's going to join us here shortly. They're 8-1 in one goal games. They've got 8 wins in one goal games, and you could be fighting at the end of this week in some pretty tough battles to try and get this playoff seeding done, especially if there's only 4 teams getting in. The other thing that I see here, you're pointing at Russia. They are on a 9-game win streak, 9-1 in their last 10. So after losing their last game, they won 9 straight, and sitting up at the top. But you're right. This is a tight race. We've got the first 5 teams in the standings all within 6 points of each other. So you got a couple of them within a point or two of each other in there. It's really a tight race. And right behind those top 5, all 4 more teams within 8 points. So it's a really tight race, and it's good to see with so few teams that there's going to be a battle coming down the wire, even if it is just those 4 spots.
Yeah, it's like I said, man. There's teams nipping at each other's heels, and this league's pretty damn competitive now. There's some teams at the bottom who've had a rough start. One of them that I'm really surprised about is the Czech Republic. They've got some really talented players on that team, and they just haven't been able to get it done for whatever reason it is. But I mean, you go down their lineup, they got guys like Cummins 7, they got LaPlante 94, they have Frost X17 is their GM, Easton 17 is their captain, they got Loops 19 who's the owner. Like they've got amazing players on that team, and I think that just goes to show that the competition level in the IHL is pretty damn tight. I mean, you got a team with that much talent on it. Albeit most of those guys are offensive talent, but a team with that much talent on it is sitting down and has only won 5 games. They're sitting at 5-11-2. So, I mean, just to see that alone tells you how competitive this league is and how tight it's going to be coming down the wire here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, one of the stories of this tournament so far is, we had a lot of people talking because there's a lot of NHL guys, a lot of AHL guys, there's some CHL guys, and, people talking about which teams built with those players were going to be the best teams in this league, how well they would fare against each other. And there's been some people who were expected to be good that are good. And then there's some people who haven't lived up to the billing. And then there's other people who weren't supposed to be good that are sitting up there near the top. And, it's really crazy to see. This is what's so great about this league and this website and how this stuff is built. It's really fun to watch from where I'm sitting. And we'll see what happens over the next several games here. Do you guys play 10 games this week?
No, I believe we play the normal 9 games this week.
9. So 9 games left to decide this. There's, if you go 9-0, you're winning 18 points. You could wrap this up pretty easily if you had an amazing week like that. But if you're sitting there 5-4, 4-5, something like that, that could really change the playoff picture.
For sure. And the reason there's only 9 games this week is because with the little mix up we had with the draft didn't quite happen on time, and it happened a day late on Sunday when games were set to start. So Sunday's games didn't take place. So those 2 games on Sunday had to get spread out through the next 2 weeks as the second game on Thursday. So now we've gotten through that. We're caught back up to the games, and we're hitting stride here into the 3rd week, and it's a normal week, just 9 games, and and may the best team win. Like, it's going to be interesting to watch. But like I said, in this league, it's so great because you can have all the offense in the world. But if you don't have good defense and they're not stopping the other teams from scoring, you're not going to win. And it's been proven, so far in this league that and teams have had some surprising defense played. There's when I'm talking about defense, you got, all those one goal games that a lot of these teams have. I mean, that's a ton of one goal games. When you add them all up. So there's been a bunch of one goal games, and you have teams like Russia. They're sitting at the top for a reason. They've given up the fewest amount of goals against in the entire league. They've only given up 30 goals so far in the games that they've played, in the 20 games that they've played, and so it's, or the, what is it?
18.
Yeah, 18. So it's, you got to play defense, and it's Russia's sitting at the top at 30 goals against, and then I believe Finland is sitting in second with 39 goals against, and then after that, you have a little bit of a jump up to the USA, who's given up 43 goals, and then from there it goes up to France, who's given up 46 goals, and then from there it goes up to Kazakhstan, who's only given up 48 goals. So right there, you see it. The top 5 teams are the top 5 teams that have given up the least amount of goals. So, there's your proof in the pudding. Defense in this league. You can score as much as you want, but you got to be able to stop the other teams from putting the puck in the back of the net.
Well, I think that's really a product of there being so few teams, with there being only 14 teams and, 30 NHL teams worth of talent plus, at least probably the same in the AHL. Maybe not full teams, but definitely a lot of players. Squished down from 60 teams plus the CHL, right down onto 14 teams. So you've got some very high octane offenses. You've got the best defensemen in the league. There's a bunch of really good goalies that are, starting. So you're with less teams, you're getting a better chance of facing a good starting goalie. So it's everything just seems to add up. And when you've got really good goaltending, really great defense, and a group of guys that puts the puck in the net when they get the chance, that's going to win you this league. And it looks like that's how it's starting to play out with the top, 6 or 7 teams, 9 teams, starting to separate themselves, all with the chance to get into the playoffs at the end of this week.
Yeah, the goaltending's been top notch. It's been really good, so much so that there's been some posts, some threads created within the IHL page, talking about the goaltenders in IHL, as some of them have been playing outstanding, just really, really good hockey, and it's been really fun to watch. You got Class Act, who's just been a nightmare for teams. People are having one hell of a time scoring on him, and he's playing out of his mind. I mean, he's leading the league in goals against average with a 1.41. That's outstanding. In a league like this that has as much offensive power as it does, I mean, a 1.41 goals against, are you kidding me right now? And the top 4 guys for goaltenders and goals against average are all below 2 goals against. So, I mean, that tells you the story right there. Goaltenders are playing outstanding, and it's been a defensive battle in a lot of these games. They've been low scoring, and they've been 1 goal games. So it's been a grind for sure.
Yeah. The top 6 goalies have a save percentage above 80%. With the top one being, of course, Class Act, 87.1% is just outstanding. And, it's also good. One thing I've seen in this league, last season there were guys that played a different position, and you see some guys going back to their original position in the IHL. For example, Ryan 28, the GM from Rochester, he played defense all season, but in the IHL he moved back to goalie, which was his natural position, and he's playing pretty well too. So there's a lot of fun things to see here. Getting to see some of the NHL guys that we didn't get to see during the AHL season. Really cool to see some of them play with some of them. Um, I've been having a blast on the outside looking in, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. But it's something we get to do here every once in a while is talk to an owner, and I do believe that is that the Queens Park Rangers symbol there, JL?
Yep.
You got it up. So what's going on, man? How's your season going there in Denmark?
It's been going pretty good. I mean, myself, I've been having, yeah, but the team's looking really good though. We've been playing really good. We built our team defense first, and it's been showing up a lot. We've got a lot of one-goal games that we've been winning. We're like 8-1 in one-goal games, and it's big with that and the goaltending. We've been doing pretty good this season.
Are you having fun? Is it a different kind of management position to be an owner as opposed to AGM?
Yeah, it's a lot different because, like the owner, it's your decision. More like the AGM position, yeah. Like when I was with the Wolves, I'd always give vibes, like hints and like my opinion and stuff, but it was always his decision. Now I've got JD Forthy and my buddy C. Fairman, who are my GMs, and it's a lot more. They're like, yeah, this is what their ideas are, but in the end, it's my decision, which is a lot different with being an owner.
Are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, I am. Really enjoying this experience.
Yeah,
They've been,
how is
they've been tight games, haven't they, JL? I mean, it's been. I know every game I've played in has just been a nail biter. I was in a game against you guys specifically that went to overtime, I think, and it was just like every game we've been playing has been a one-goal game, man.
half their games?
Have you
9
found
of
that
18.
experience as well?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
found it's a lot tougher competition because I mean we get used to over the season. We get to see these AHL guys a lot because we've been in the AHL for the past 2 seasons. But then you got some of the CHL guys that they're showing that they can fight along with the other guys. But when you add the NHL guys in, it's a big step because a lot of them guys they're some top end players and they're proving it. And we don't usually get to see those guys unless we're ECUs, but it's been a lot tougher.
for sure. The games are definitely a little bit different. You can definitely notice the difference in styles, I think, from the NHL guys to the AHL guys. I've noticed that big time. Whereas the NHL game is mainly based on a lot of puck possession, a lot of time on attack, and not quite as many shots on goal. It almost feels like sometimes they're waiting for the perfect play, where you see a ton of time on attack and the shots are down. But have you noticed that at all? Just
I've seen that in a lot of games. Like, I mean, my team specifically. I mean, we got a lot of AHL guys, so it's more of that get up, get going type pace. But we do have a good mix with like the NHL guys who do like to slow it down, a lot more conservative with the puck. But yeah, it is a lot different because the NHL. I just watching some games like that Team Russia. They're a good example. They're a lot of puck possession right there.
yeah,
But I mean, I feel like both methods have their goods and their bads because if you hold on to the puck, yeah, sure, I mean, you're gonna get that time on attack, but you could be missing out on some chances. But and if you're going run and gun, you could be missing out on a lot more chances if you just slow down.
for sure. I guess kind of what you want, what you're looking for is more of a hybrid. You kind of want the best of both worlds, if you ask me. Is that what you've kind of found that's been working the best for you guys?
Yeah, you gotta pick and choose your spots when you want to run and gun. Definitely, you don't want to be going full out like that. And then, I mean, you gotta pick your times where you want to just slow it down. Because if you say you're up on a team and you're making them back into a corner, why just hold the puck, keep attacking?
Right.
I mean, if they're gonna give it to you, I mean, you gotta take it. But that's not another thing. You gotta really take what the other team gives you.
Absolutely.
Because I've seen a lot of teams they back off, and that's been more like the CHL, AHL type teams. They back off, but those NHL guys they will pressure you.
Absolutely.
They will make you make the play.
Yeah, they force you to make moves quick with the puck, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
A doubt.
Yeah, and that's what's super fun to watch is we're seeing a whole kind of meshing of styles from the different leagues and the different systems within those leagues, and a lot of the top players mixing together on different lines that we didn't see because they may be with different NHL teams, AHL teams. There's so much going on, and the teams that have figured out their chemistry the quickest have kind of taken hold up here at the top of the top half of the standings like you guys. Um, what was it like getting chemistry together on this team? Did it happen pretty early on, or are you guys just really settling in the last half of the 9 games that you just played?
I feel like we're settling more now. This past week we went 7-3. We had a really good week. We probably could have been 8-2, 9-1, but we just had a couple games that got away from us. But our first week was a lot more difficult. We went 3-5. Trying to find the chemistry, that was the big thing. Trying to figure out who works with who. That's the big thing because you got a lot of clashing styles, a lot of NHL. We have a decent amount of NHL guys and a decent amount of AHL guys right through our starting lineup, and I've been trying to keep more of the guys that have that slow down type pace together. A couple of them, like we have right now, we got like Rhino, Gergs, and Sloaner. Sloaner's an NHL player who's been doing very solid for us, and he meshes well right with Gergs and Rhino.
For sure, yeah. Rhino's definitely one of those puck possession type guys. He likes to get down into the corner and work it, and that's huge. If you find some guys that can mix well with that, you can really capture some lightning in a bottle for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, every time we get to have somebody on here, it's really cool. And this is the first time I believe that you've actually made it on. You were going to be on the trade deadline show last season and then couldn't make it. It's an interesting perspective, I guess I would say, when I get to sit here and talk to you and hear inside the locker room of how building the team is affected with how players play, how teams play against you. It's really kind of cool to have you guys on, and I want to say that I think you're doing a great job. You're a good owner, and keep it up with 9 teams within 8 points of each other. It's going to be a tight race this week, and I think you guys definitely have the power in your lineup to get this thing done. So it's going to be fun to watch that. Good luck to you, and thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. I love this show, guys. I'd do anything to support you. Yeah, I wish I could have been on more early in the season, but I did get that interview with Sibs, which was pretty fun. But
yep,
being on this show, it's pretty cool. I love doing this. I love this league. I want to do what I can, and thanks again for the compliments because I'm trying to do my best because this is affecting me and what I'm going to be doing for hopefully next season. So
there you go.
We'll see.
Everything's an interview.
Yep.
Everything's a tryout.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good luck to you guys. I think you guys are doing extremely well, and it was great to talk to you on the show, man.
All right, yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Yep. See you, brother.
See you, man.
See ya.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Oh.
So that was JLM, the owner for Denmark, and really cool to kind of hear. I haven't been as involved in this. I haven't been involved in this league as much. I'm only on the training camp, so for me, it's really cool to kind of get to hear what guys like him have to say. It's we're going to be having Cosmo on shortly, and it's going to be fun to talk to him as well and get his perspective from goalie in this league. And it's really cool, Mike.
Yeah, for sure. It's sorry, I was spacing out there looking at something. So
was it JL not leaving?
Well, yeah, I was trying to. I was ejecting him out of the conversation. So I just wanted to make sure he got out of there and didn't give us any dick pics.
All right,
So
we've gone too
anyway,
far.
yeah, I always end up taking too far, but hey,
Somebody had to go there. I guess it
yeah,
could have been you.
parental advisory, I guess. I think they're set up nicely to make a good push here. I think Denmark is. They've got some really talented guys in their lineup. With Rhino, I think he's a great player. Easy Dangles is. I mean, come on, what can you say about the guy? He's a extremely good defenseman. Holy crap. So they've got some good talent on that team. They've got
Mhm.
good leadership, and I could see Denmark making a push here, and we'll see what happens. Like I
Here,
said, they're right on the cusp.
here's the question though. So Denmark has only 42 goals for and 57 goals against. The 57 goals against isn't that bad, but they're not scoring. Are they going to be able to score this week enough to match the defense that they've had so that they can move in? I think that's really the question for their team. They've
Uh,
definitely got the talent to do it.
Yeah, and I mean they got their work cut out for them, man. I mean this week they got to start right out of the gates with Russia. That's no easy task, as everybody knows. So they've got to start playing Russia, then they got to play Italy, Denmark, Kazakhstan. Their first four games are against extremely tough competition. So, or I mean France. Excuse me, I said Denmark, I believe. So they have Russia, Italy, France, Kazakhstan as their first four games. I mean, come on.
But there's not really anywhere to hide in this league anyway with
There's
such a
definitely
small amount
nowhere
of
to hide.
teams. Um,
There's maybe a couple of places to hide, but even then, not really, because I mean, any given night, any one team could
mhm.
possibly take out the other.
But then, you've got Sweden in sixth, with tied with them with 20 points. And compared to the 42 goals Denmark scored, Sweden has scored 76 and have two of the league's top scorers on their team, and Jay Claus 33 and Kraz 18. They've scored 76 goals, sitting at the same 20 points as Denmark, but they've given up 65, so they give up a few more goals. And that's kind of those two teams have a very different um, team structure as it shows in the statistics, and they're both sitting right there together. So I think that's kind of the interesting part of this week is that we'll see which of those teams, those team styles all the way up to Russia at number one is going to be good enough to get you into the playoffs, especially if there's only four teams.
Yeah, like I said, I mean it's anybody's ball game, but yeah, it's gonna have to start putting the puck in the net eventually. It's this is one of those leagues where you can't just play defense and you can't just play offense. You got to have a good mixture of both. You've got to have a good power play. You've got to have a great power penalty kill. And you have to have good goaltending. So you have to have the full package in this league to pick up wins, get into the playoffs, and medal. You've got to have the full package, and without it, defense only can get you so far. Only offense can only get you so far. Just goaltending can only get you so far. You've got to be able to put all those together and ice a solid team from front to back in both zones and the neutral zone included. And you got to play a full team game. Otherwise, you're just gonna sink to the bottom and never make it back out.
Yeah, and then you've got that balance so far has been struck by Russia, who's 14 and 4. They've got the 60 goals for, so a good number of goals for, 30 goals against, best in the league, and their goaltender is the top goaltender statistically in the league. So they've got like the exact perfect equation right now. Through 2 weeks, making their team sit up at the top, saying that they've got the right balance.
Absolutely, they're scoring 2 goals for every one they give up. So that tells you right there that they're going to be winning more games than they lose. And when you got guys like Class Act, who's 9-0 in the net, I mean, come on, man. He's
That's not
shutting it
fair.
down. Gonzo Armstrong, he's 7-0 on the back end. You have Rahanic, who's 6-0. I mean, he's got 19 points. He's just a monster out there offensively. And they've got some great play coming from different spots on the ice, and they're an extremely tough team to play. And that's whoever comes up against Russia, look out, because you're going to be in for a battle. And you're going to be defending, but you're going to have to attack as well to keep from having to defend the whole game.
Yeah, absolutely. But like we said, is what's going to be really interesting to see here because there's different styles that match up differently against each other, and when we get to see teams play each other this week, we're really going to see if these styles all hold up. That's why we play the games. So far, we see where we're at, but things can change in a hurry in this league, and someone can have the good week that they need to have, and this team can go straight to the top. So it's going to be super fun to watch. And one of the guys that's stuck right down there in the middle of the action in the net is Cosmo. He has joined us here. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Ah, not too bad. We were doing good. How's it been in the IHL so far to this point from the net? What's it like to be a goalie playing against an outstanding lineup almost every single game you play in a league this size?
It's exhausting, honestly.
Exhausting, huh?
Yeah. Um, I'm thankful I got a good goaltender on our team who actually put up points or put up the wins because I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah, it's tough, but I mean, we were just talking about needing to have balance, and it's something that it's hard to do. It's only 2 weeks into this league. We're two-thirds of the way through the season, but 2 weeks isn't a very long time to mesh. So you're seeing kind of different teams mesh at different rates, and that can affect goaltending and all sorts of other things with teams being low in time on attack or defensively not withstanding. So, there's a lot of things I'm sure you've seen back there that have been kind of tough to deal with.
I've seen some different things happen. Not usually with our team. Our team connected pretty well right away, which I was pretty lucky with. I was kind of concerned right away because I didn't know many of the players. I mean, I knew who Rask was and JC Pens and Shroom Smoke and them, but like I didn't recognize a lot of the faces at first. And then getting to know them, I've actually started to enjoy the team and enjoy their personality.
Yeah, is it a different experience just playing as goaltender as opposed to GMing the team and having to make decisions and put stuff together?
Yeah, it definitely is. I like being a player a lot more. However, I will say on my team, I still do a lot of the management stuff,
Right, like
like
stats and
like
stuff.
uploading all the stats.
Yep, yep. Guys who can do stats are valuable in this league. That's
But
for sure.
I told JC Pens at the beginning of the season if he needed help with the stats, I had no issue doing them. It takes me 10 minutes, and I'm one of those guys who hates to wait for stats.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Just get them done. Get them in and get them done. But
Yeah.
so far it's been um, pretty cool to see as the league has put these stats in where everybody kind of sits. I love talking to you and your point of view from not just goalie, but the way you watch the game and talk about players. And I've played games with you, just drop-ins and stuff. Um, I like the perspective that you give when talking about talent and what you're seeing because you always have a clever way to say it.
I
What do you
try to use some kind of big words, but then they confuse me when I use them.
Right.
how are you feeling about going into this next week here? You guys have a big week coming up. You're sitting in fourth right now, but there's teams nipping at your heels. You start the week off with Finland, then you got Russia, Italy, France, Kazakhstan. I mean, those first 5 games, your face is pretty tough competition. Do you guys have a plan going forward into this week, or are you just kind of winging it so far?
I don't think we really have a plan going into any games, honestly, other than go in, do our best, and try and come out with the win. Fortunately, I've got 5 of our losses, so it's not looking good for me. But other than the one 5-2 loss, that I'll admit I played a bad game. Uh, we've all our games have been low scoring and fairly close. Which is I didn't expect in this league, because normally when you look at scores, you see a lot of high scoring games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were the 2 games against Germany. I hate to call them out, but I mean we beat them, I think 7-2, and then 10-1. But other than that, they've been fairly low scoring. But as the season's gone on, our team's gotten better and started to do better.
Right. Right, that's pretty natural for teams to reach that point. Hope you guys are getting there. It looks like you are. I mean, you're sitting there in 4th place, and if you're kind of disappointed with how things have gone to this point, then that means you've got a lot further up that you guys can go. But right now, you're sitting in a playoff spot, so don't be too hard on yourself. You guys can't win every single game.
I guess the point that I was getting at, Cosmo, is I kind of want to get a feel for how other teams are doing it. Do you guys have set lines that you're playing now, or do you guys just kind of go off availability?
We kind of go off availability, but at the same time, the one line that always plays together is it's I think it's JC Penn's and the other 2 managers.
Yeah.
PSU Lions, and I forget who the other guy is.
He's
somebody on
Cam's punch.
Yes, Cam's.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
I
those
knew he
guys
had
all
punch in his name, but
have pretty solid records. They're all basically have lost the game, I think.
yeah, they're always, that's the set line, But
I was just
I haven't
curious.
really noticed anything else.
Yeah, one thing I've been noticing is that a lot of teams have not necessarily set lines yet, but they kind of have pairs. They have their defensive cores set for the most part, kind of, and then they have more or less pairs of guys that are playing together. But yeah, that makes sense. I mean, JC Penn's and the boys, they're all super solid players, and it shows. They're all 6-1. So.
I mean, if it wasn't for Rask standing up in net over there with an 8-1-1 record compared to my 3-5-0, I think we'd be doing a lot worse. So I got to give a shout out to him for keeping us in this thing.
Yeah, Rask has been playing outstanding. And in this league, it's tough to do, man. But I'll be straight up. Every goalie I've seen in this league has been playing extremely well, for the most part. Now, there's been some of those games that were just, we won't mention, that we all saw on Thursday, or that were just, whoa. You looked at the score and you were like, wow. But
yeah, I saw that score. And I'm like,
but
I thought it was a mistake at first until I looked at the picture.
These goaltenders, I'll tell you what, man. Most all of them are playing outstanding.
I mean, if you look at from starting at Class A, going down to San Jose, nobody's over 3 goals. So.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's the top 15 guys. None of them are at 3 goals against. I mean, that's just insane. You don't see that much, and especially in a league with this much talent in it. I mean, every single one of these teams has massive amounts of talent on it. So, my hat's off to all you guys. I mean, like you said in the beginning, goaltenders got to be stressful as hell. And, I always have to give props to the goaltenders who actually get between them pipes in these leagues and give it their all, man. So hats off
High
to
stress.
you. Seriously, man.
Well, I mean, when I get asked why I play goalie, because you'll see these, goals that everybody calls as an EA goal, and I'll admit some of them are, you look at it and it's like, how did that go in, and it's people will be like, how can you play that position? I would be throwing my controller through the TV. And I'm like, well, we're brain damaged. We're sitting there, voluntarily.
Short-term memory loss.
We're sitting there voluntarily getting things fired at us at over 100 miles an hour on a video game. We're pretty brain damaged.
That's
That
funny.
looks, it looks like you're not doing that bad, Cosmo. I mean, you're sitting in 11th right now with a 2.56, man. So that's nothing to scoff at, dude. You're sitting at 2.56 goals against. I mean, in a league like this, man, like that's, it just sounds like you're a few bounces away from being, 5-3, or 6-2. And so, I mean, you're right there. I mean, that
Speaking
ain't
of
nothing.
those 5-3, my very first two losses, they were 2-1, and the one game, which was against, I think, Finland. They scored the final goal. It was against Mooner. I know that, so I'm pretty sure that was Finland.
Yeah, that's us.
Well, I don't think you were in that game,
I wasn't.
honestly.
No, I wasn't.
But it was, Mooner was in net, and the game ended with 1.1 seconds left with Beefy getting. I mean, there was a lot of people in front of the net. I can't say it
Right.
was a bad game. They all just crashed the net, and Beefy got that shot off and put it backhand far side and ended the game going to OT 2-1. So
Yeah, it's.
I'll give a shout out to Finland for putting up play there, but I'm not really. I didn't like how that one finished.
Right, yeah, nobody would like that. I mean, that's one of those goals where you're like, what the hell else can you do except stay square to the pile of people and hope that somehow the puck hits you when it comes out of that pile. I mean, that's just a bad bounce, bad luck, and crap happens. But I have full confidence in your abilities, man. You know that. I like you as a person. You're a good dude. This league needs more guys like you in it. And it's been great to talk to you on the show today, Cosmo.
Well, I'm honored that you guys had me on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was great having you on. I thought of asking you on a few days ago, but I didn't ask you till today. But
Yeah, Sibs
I,
mentioned it to me last night about joining, and I'm like, I was like, it'd be kind of weird talking about myself.
you don't have to talk about yourself. In fact, we try not to.
Yeah, that's why I didn't mention myself much other than my crappy record. I mean, I gotta give a shout out to my guys for sticking with me, and you
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
I try to keep them in every game. So,
Yep.
and
You do a good job.
I'm
Well,
good.
thanks a lot for coming
Got to
on, man.
get over this, because of this, and I got to know he's actually a really good goalie, and contrary to what people said at the end of last season about Rockford having, their goalies be carried, I have to say that's wrong. Their goalies really stood strong for them.
Oh man, we got
Yeah.
Schneider on our team, and he's been outstanding.
Oh, Schneider's an NHL goalie that was sent down, right?
Yeah, yeah, he was sent down just before
I
playoffs
think he was
started.
called up and then sent
Yeah,
down and called.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
he's 7-0-1, so I
yeah,
mean,
both of those goalies were outstanding on Rockford, and
Yep.
I don't know where they were both outstanding. I've played games with both of them, and they're both just really good. So.
Yep.
I don't know. I heard a lot of people, well, mostly Shotbox. Oh, Rockford's goalies were just carried because of the, stellar offense. I'm like, and at first I was like, well, maybe that's true. I mean, they had some offense that could keep it in the zone for 10 minutes at a time. I would be, I wouldn't have had a bad
Right.
record either. But
Right.
playing with Rask and seeing how much he can do and pitching two shutouts and the start of the season, pitching a shutout in a 1-0 game. I got to give credit to him. He's keeping us in this. I've only picked up 3 wins, and 2 of them came against Germany. So the other one, I will say, came against France in a double overtime game, making them so they weren't undefeated no more. That's my only one I'm gonna keep, as keep in
Well,
my trophy case.
right. Well, good luck to you in the rest of the season, man. Have a good night.
All right, you too, and I'll be watching the rest of the show.
Sounds
Awesome.
good,
Thanks, man.
Cosmo. Thanks for joining us.
No
And that was
problem.
Cosmo, goaltender for USA. Um, Goalies always have some odd insight into things, think the game a little different than I think it, and I love having Cosmo on. That was fun.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat, that's for sure. He's definitely got a,
He's a cool cat.
yeah, he's got a different perspective for sure. He's a good dude. This it's good to talk to people like that on the show without a doubt. But let's run down these league leaders here, Jonathan. What do you got over there? You got, let's start off with those leading points getters.
Yep. Pulling that up right now. The point leaders, it's really a tight race, and Pacioretty 67 so far is at 29 points, followed by JC Penn's 22 in second with 26. J Claus 33 right there with 24, followed by Kraz 18 at 23. You got two guys with Skinner and Cam's 1-2 punch sitting at 22. Two more guys sitting at 20 and Kush Demon QC and Hazy Hype. And at 9, tied at 9 with 19, you have Rahanic and Snipe Shot 21. Really tight race there, but a lot of guys grabbing a lot of points in just 6 games available to play so far.
Without a doubt, it's pretty crazy to see that those guys are scoring that many points. In a league like this, with as good a defensive as there is, walking around out there, and on the kind of the defensive side, I'll switch over to the plus minus here. We got Cam's 1-2 punch sitting at plus 16. He's in first. Second is JC Penn's 22 with a plus 16. Lions 32, sitting at a plus 15. And then in the fourth and fifth spot, you got Hazy Hype and Raya the Beholder sitting at plus 13 each. Sitting in the sixth spot is Calm Blue Ice with a plus 12. And then in the seventh spot, I've got your 6 at 12 and McLovin sitting at 12 as well, and as well as Rahanic. They're all tied at a plus 12. So 6 through 9 are all at plus 12, and then you got Gonzo Armstrong bringing up the 10th spot at plus 11 there. That's some, those are some definite good plus minuses there for some of these guys. And it's shocking to not see, any guys from Kazakhstan up there in the top 10 because of that game that they had on Thursday against the team, where they scored 17 goals. It was 17-2 was the final. And, they either had a lot of power play goals or something. We won't mention who it was against or anything, but, it seems like somebody in that game should be sitting right at the top just because of that game alone. But, it is what it is, I guess. Who we got for the goals leaders so far?
Well, the goals leaders, Pacioretty 67, your point leader, has 18 goals. JC Penn's at 16 goals. Hazy Hype has 12, as well as Loops 19. Kraz 18 has 11. Jacuzzi Boy has 10, as well as JD Heagle, Kush Demon QC. All three of them have 10. And then you have Broski 02 with 9, and Headshot, Riz, Kadri, and Triggered Kev all tied with 9 through just, I guess, 6 games.
Yeah. They could have possibly played 4 because of the first 2 weeks there were a line that played 4 games, but still.
Oh, that's right.
They're still sitting right up there at the top. For the assists leaders, number 1 in assists, somebody might want to check this, is Jay Claus. Sitting at 17 assists. I'm just messing with him. Everybody knows the dude's a super good player.
This is,
I have nothing but respect for Claus. He's a good dude, and it is what it is. He's leading the league in assists, boys. He's sitting at 17. Cam's 1-2 punch and Skinner 53 are sitting at 15 in the 2 and 3 spots. Sitting in 4 is Legal with 13, as well as Rahanic. He's sitting in the 5th spot with 13, as well as Skills Pay Bills. He's sitting in the 6th spot with 13 as well. And then you got Kraz sitting alone in the 7th spot with 12 assists. And you got McLovin and Pacioretty 67 and Snipe Shot 21 rounding out the top 10, all sitting at 11 assists so far through 2 weeks in the IHL.
Yep, and one of the stats that I'm looking at next here for the goalies is something that we've talked about a little bit on the show already, but is just very impressive, and that's the goals against average. Um, Class Act 27 for Russia has a 1.41 goals against average, and their backup goalie QC Chief 27 has a 1.7 goals against. They're the top two goalies in the league. That's outstanding. Schneider at a 1.85 for Finland. Under 2 in this league is incredible. And Rask from USA is right there at 1.97 as well. Then we have fifth with J. Carlos 44. He's sitting at 2.14. And as we go here, I'm barely going to make it to 2.5 in the top 10. And Belaya at 2.25 is in sixth. Irish Sean at 2.49. He's in seventh. Jonesy, he's at 2.49 for Canada. And then in ninth, we have Oilfield Trash 412, 2.5 on the dot. And then Mooner in 10th has 2.55 goals against. Top 10 goalies in the league under 2.55. That's incredible.
It's insane. I mean, honestly, it really is when you think about it, because I mean, this is, after all, a video game, and it is, after all, NHL 16, where goals usually come in bunches. And to have the top 10, even the top 15 guys, and it might even be more after that, as we can't see past 15 currently throughout the entire league. But you got a ton of guys sitting at below a 3.0 goals against average, and that's outstanding to me. I mean, yeah, I mean, it is, people may say, oh, they're giving up 3 goals, but you know what? This is NHL 16. It's not like they're actually playing goalie. Giving up less than 3 goals in a game in this league alone is a hell of a feat. And these guys need to be given props, because they're all literally standing on their head. And if you don't believe me, see the post that was made by Frost X17, I believe, that said goalies of IHL. He did make a thread on it, and it actually says, "Please stop having the games of your lives against us." Sincerely, the team with the highest time on attack but can't score, the Czech Republic. So, that right there goes to show that these goalies have been standing on their head in the IHL.
Yeah, it's crazy and also really funny the way he put it.
Yeah. I left a couple of choice words out there, but
Right, of course. Do you want to go over things like face-off percentage? I know that's one of the categories that you like.
It's one of the big ones that I really like, but it's kind of skewed because this just takes. I don't know. It's been weird the way that I've been looking at the face-off percentage in some of these, because you'll see guys up here who are sitting at I mean, 75% is definitely, Skinner's amazing and Chiz, but, we can go over it. But sometimes you'll see this and you'll see guys at like 90%, and it's like, okay, that's not right.
Right.
Or they, took a face off or something. But, we can go over that. Skinner is sitting at the top of the league at 75.3%, followed by my boy Chiz Nasty, teammate of mine in the IHL here. He's sitting at 63.2. And third, you got Off-Road 6901. He's sitting at 63%. Then you got J Claus sitting in the fourth position with a 59.1% face-off percentage, followed right up by Voltep, who's sitting at 58.0. And then you got Colt Crazy sitting in the sixth position at 56.8. And then you got Beastie Boy DP sitting in the seventh position at 56.3. Frost X17 sitting at 56.1 in the eighth position. You got Brofio 55.6%. And then following up in the 10th spot, you have R Watson 19 at 55.4%. Now, the reason that I like face-off percentage so much is because you got to have the puck in order to score, and you got to have the puck in order to clear your own defensive zone. So it's extremely important to have centers that can win those face-offs and get the puck back to their defenders, and then move the puck up and out the ice, or move the puck in the offensive zone. So, having guys like Skinner like Chiz Nasty, like Off-Road, J-Claws, Voltep, all those guys, you got to have those centers in order to be successful in any league. And you got to have those centers who are defensively responsible and win faceoffs. And if you have those guys, you're going to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's kind of a good outline of where the stats at the top of the league are sitting to this point. And, you know, I think there's a lot of surprises there. I don't mean surprises in terms of people, just at the sheer amazing numbers that are being put up by all over across the board from different positions.
For sure. It's fun. It's like an all-star league, you know. I mean, so it's fun to cover here. We're going to be doing more shows, and you know, covering this is going to be a blast. And you know, we're looking forward to getting next week going here. We'll be on at the same time next week as well. So, you know, covering this is going to be outstanding, and hopefully we can have some interesting movement this week and start off next weekend with an outlook at the playoffs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, assuming right now that nothing changes, we'll see which teams finish in the top four and grab those playoff spots. And we'll see from there what kind of matchups we get, because that's going to be really interesting as well to see what the final product's going to be heading into the playoffs. A lot of things can happen for between now and the end of the week. So, you know, I guess a little under 24 hours from now, we get the third week started, and teams start to kind of lay their path to where they're going to end this season at.
For sure, it's definitely going to be it's going to be a fun week, and I wish every team good luck. Unless you're playing Finland, you know, then I wish you know, hey, it is what it is. But you know, just to everybody out there, anybody who tuned in tonight, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a blast, and you know, I'll kick it over to you to kind of finish us off here.
Yep. Thank you guys for responding to the thread that I put up and asking for us to come back and do a show. You know, wasn't this was different for me not having the preparation by playing in the league. So, you know, it was definitely interesting to do it from this point of view, and I look forward to seeing how that plays off. Thank you guys very much for asking for us to do this, though. It's definitely fun, and we'll see you next Saturday.